Hi everyone, welcome to This Alcoholic Life. I'm Jonathan, and today I wanted to make a video about your first AA meeting. So if you are someone who's never been to an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, today I'm going to describe what things are like a little bit so you aren't so surprised, and also so you just have some expectation of what you're walking into. So, Alcoholics Anonymous meetings are usually an hour long. Sometimes they're an hour and a half. Sometimes I guess they're 2 hours. I've been to ones that are 2 hours, but mostly they're an hour or an hour and a half. And they're probably going to be in a strange location. So not like that strange, but it'll probably be in a little room of a church somewhere, some little classroom or something, maybe with children's desks or things up on the wall. They could be in the back room of a bar. I've gone to many of those, which seems somewhat ironic having an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting in a bar. They usually aren't in the actual bar. A lot of times they're at places like community centers or different kinds of civic groups, organizations, things like that. Usually they're places you've never been before. Another thing is if you are around my age, well, I'm 40. If you're around my age or younger, you might be the youngest person there. So sometimes there's young persons meetings where you might be the oldest person, I guess. But in my experience, a lot of the times, the average age I would place somewhere around 50, just a guess. It's not scientific, but that's my experience. Also, there's different types of meetings that could be going on. Usually, they mostly consist of people sharing. So, kind of going around the room, not in order, but just people speaking up when they feel compelled and talking about something for a few minutes, maybe 3 to 5 minutes, something like that. Sometimes they have time limits of when people can share, sometimes not. It all depends on the meeting. Another thing, all meetings are different. So they're all run, by different people, and they can have different formats. In general, they're pretty much the same in general, but they have slight variations. So sometimes we'll be going through a book together, reading it page by page, or reading a section and then talking about that. Other times there'll be someone up in front who shares for 15 minutes and people sort of respond back to that. Other times it's just people going around and sharing. There's different formats, but they're usually pretty close to the same format as far as you go in, there'll be someone up at the front, sort of a leader, and there'll be some readings at the beginning, which sort of catches people off guard sometimes. We'll go around and read a couple sheets of paper, sometimes more, sometimes less. And then there'll be time for people to share, to go around the room. Something else, if you're going to an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, you have probably been drinking for a while. So you have a lot of drinking friends. And you may see someone that you know in this Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. So don't be too surprised if you see an old drinking buddy, because that's where some of us end up. One thing you'll probably notice is a lot of caffeine and nicotine consumption, aka coffee and cigarettes. I'm not exactly sure what it is about sober alcoholics that love caffeine and cigarettes, but a lot of them seem to do so. One thing I hear from people that go to meeting for the first time is they think that everyone is way too happy. So you might be expecting to go into a meeting and have it be a bunch of depressed people sitting around complaining about life. Yeah, there are some meetings like that, but in my experience, most of the time people are quite cheerful. That's why we're doing this recovery thing, is to lead happy lives. And so people are happy, they like seeing their friends. It's usually one of the lower stress times of people's weeks. So I know for me, all of this I'm saying from experience, from my own experience. And my experience of going to meetings is They're really relaxing for me for the most part. Sometimes there can be drama and it's stressful, but 95% of the time I go to meetings, I enjoy them, I get something from them, I smile, I laugh, I see people I know. It's a good time. Expect handshakes and hugs from strangers. People are glad to see you, and if you mention to them that it's your first meeting, they'll be really happy to see you. I know for me, it's a really great thing seeing what we call a newcomer come in, because it means that this may be the beginning of a brand new life for them. So it makes us excited, not because we're getting another person to join the club. It's more of we know what it's done for us. That's why we keep going, and we're excited for anyone that is coming in the door, that they have a chance of a new and more fulfilling life. When you go into the room, most likely there will be the 12 steps hanging up on the wall. And the first thing a lot of people notice about these steps is that 4 of them contain the word God. Ooh. That's a big deal for some people. Me, myself, I didn't have a big deal with it. I don't particularly hate God. I don't have beef with organized religion, but some people do. Some of you guys out there really don't like church, really don't like church people, don't like religion, don't like the word God, all of that. That's totally fine. You are in the right place. There are many people who feel the same, many people who have been in AA for years, who still don't like the word God, who change the word God to other things. That's fine. It's totally fine. People get confused and think that AA is a religious program. It's more of a spiritual program. I'll get into that in another video, another time, but there's a big difference between religion and spirituality. They can go together, but in my experience, they seem to be quite separate. And when I talk about the difference between religion and spirituality, what I kind of mean is religion is a doctrine with a set of beliefs and rules, whereas spirituality I see as a personal relationship between you or me, a person, and some sort of higher power, whatever you want to call it. The universe, higher energy, anything. People have some strange higher powers, and a lot of times people substitute the people in the rooms as their higher power, and that's just fine. Another thing you'll notice when you walk in the rooms, there will most likely be sayings all over the place. Sometimes there's not, but sometimes you'll look around and there'll be things like easy does it, one day at a time, keep it simple, let go and let God. All sorts of stuff like that. They they sound really cheesy when I'm saying them out loud. And I remember when I came in, I thought, just these are stupid, you know? And over the time, I've really come to appreciate them. Not all of them, but most of them. So anyways, if you see these, just go with it. So once the meeting gets going, you'll have some readings, as I mentioned before, and then however the meeting progresses, people will let you know. And one thing I suggest is to open your mouth when you go to your first meeting. You don't have to say a lot. You can say a lot. Really, the meeting is about you, the newcomer. So if there's a 3-minute time limit and you really have to talk for 5 minutes, no one's going to stand up and punch you. No one's going to tell you to shut the hell up. If you really have stuff to talk about, you can see someone after the meeting or ask to go outside and someone will come with you to talk. One thing you might find is that you seem to have a lot in common with everyone. I've heard from more than a couple people that they thought their first meeting was a setup, that their spouse or parent had called ahead and told all the people everything about them so that they could talk about things like that. So that's some people's experience. Other people's experience are the polar opposite. They walk in and think I have absolutely nothing in common with any of these people. My suggestion is to listen for the similarities and not the differences. And that's a good thing to do in life, not just in an AA meeting. Try and see what you have in common with someone else. You could start from a common ground, and it's a lot easier to work out your differences when you start from somewhere similar. So at the end of the meeting, almost always you will have a prayer. So sometimes people do the Our Father prayer, and a lot of times we say the Serenity Prayer. So they're simple prayers. If you don't know them, that's fine. And after the meeting or before, people will probably try and offer you their phone numbers or ask for yours. Don't feel pressured into giving out your phone number to anyone if you don't want to. If you do feel comfortable, it's a really good idea. People aren't trying to get your phone numbers to sell you anything. They're really just trying to support you. The other people in the meetings, the reason a lot of us go to meetings are to support others. So that's why people might want to get your phone number or give you theirs. I suggest taking a couple people's phone numbers just in case you have some questions. If you spend a week or spend however long and you're wondering about what someone said, or you're wondering if something that's going on with you is normal, it's always nice to have someone you can reach out to. At the meeting you go to, they may offer you a book, maybe for free, maybe not for free. If they offer you a book for free, I suggest taking it so you can read over if you like. If you don't want to, you don't have to. Don't feel pressured into doing anything you don't want to do. That's my suggestion. And another thing is we pass around a donations basket. So a lot of times people will put $1 or €1, depending on what area you are in. And you can put as much as you like. You don't have to put anything, feel free. But just know that that's is going to happen. So maybe put $1 in your pocket before you go. There's different kinds of people that you'll run into. And I just wanted to sort of point that out to sort of humorous, and also just so you know what you're walking into. There will probably be an angry old man. There just seems to be an angry old man in almost every meeting. So there's that. And in almost every meeting, there's also a really sweet old lady. That is what it is. I'm not really saying it for any reason other than it's just sort of comical. And also, a lot of times there will be one person, sometimes more, with an incredible attitude that you can just feel coming off of them. That person might be you, it might be someone else, but there's always that person. Don't let it get to you, all right? And one thing I would suggest not showing up drunk. However, if that's what you have to do to get to a meeting, the big thing is get to a meeting, whatever you have to do. Also, usually meetings are for people with a desire to stop drinking. You don't have to be an alcoholic to attend a meeting. It's what we call ourselves. But if you don't identify as that, you can still come if you have a desire to stop drinking, even for a little bit. Even if you aren't sure you want to quit drinking for your whole life, if you've been going through some stuff and you just want to take it easy and you'd like some help, you are totally welcome in Alcoholics Anonymous meetings. There are things called open meetings that are specifically for people who aren't identifying themselves as alcoholics to go. Usually these are like family members and things like that. But I want to say, if you really need someone else to go with you and it's a closed meeting, you can either ask before the meeting, say, hi, I'm here, it's my first meeting, I brought my mom with me, I brought my girlfriend with me, can they please come in with me? And in my experience, I've never heard someone say no. So do what you have to do to get in there. That's the important part. Also, another thing about meetings that you might not know is there's not supposed to be what we call cross-sharing. So there should not be anyone telling you what to do, what to think, how to talk, anything like that. You may get direction. I mean, if you're talking for 10 minutes and you don't seem like you're going to shut up, someone may tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, Can you wrap it up? Things like that. You may get a little bit of direction, but you should not have someone interrupt and say, don't say something like that. You should not have someone after you speak talk back to you and tell you about yourself. Sometimes people will say nice things. Sometimes people will cross share and say, it's okay. I've been there too. Don't take it too hard. That's okay, but I just want you to know that you shouldn't feel like you're going to be attacked. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. I would love to answer. I'd love to clear some things up, maybe make another video if it's a long enough answer. And yeah, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. I'd really appreciate it so you could help this channel grow. So thanks a lot for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope all you guys are having a good day. Take care. Bye.